Britain's Conversation with Nick Abbot.
You're joking.
Well, let's get back to it.
The Sun is very, very sorry that they printed that column about Meghan Markle. They're very, very sorry that they printed that column about Meghan Markle. On other pages, top 10 reasons that Meghan Markle is a witch. Pages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 in a special pull-out colour edition in the middle. The UK is bracing for a wet and windy Christmas. Many roads resemble lakes with huge pools of standing water, as this country doesn't seem to be able to deal with any kind of weather that's not dry, cloudy and about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything else means it's the wrong kind of sun, or the wrong kind of rain, or the wrong kind of wind, or there's too much moisture in the air. But at least it's not raining iguanas. Do you believe that? And it's about to get worse here, though, because the coming days are set to bring a major blast of wintry downpours and minus 11 centigrade gusts.
A major capital letters, big news story.
The Arctic blast could keep the UK under snow and battling sub-zero temperatures until at least mid-January. Snow?
Oh, no.
Meanwhile, thousands of families in low-lying areas are anxiously watching the river levels rising as torrential rain hammered down today, leaving residents wondering if their homes are going to be flooded for Christmas. The Environment Agency issued warnings about expected flooding in more than 30 areas. This country's going down. A Thames Valley police officer said many roads have huge pools of I don't know why they all speak like this, but that's what they train them to do when they go through police school. He said many roads have huge pools of standing water which are like lakes in places. But people are tearing along and risk aquaplaning and crashing into other vehicles. There could be carnage unless motorists take heed of the weather and slow down. Slow down? He doesn't know us very well, do he?
No.
To add to the threat of being washed out of their own houses, hundreds of homes were blacked out by power cuts. And more than 20,000 households face Christmas without tap water. Absolutely nothing in this country works anymore. And you know what? If we had not been run by the Labour Party for the last 12 years under the disastrous premiership of Jeremy Corbyn, none of this would have happened. Thanks a lot, Jezza. You see what you've done?
Boo!
Families have been forced to flush their toilets using snow and collect rainwater to do the dishes. And they throw their leftover food out the windows, and they gather sticks from the forest to make fires and build huts out of mud and eat each other when they run out of food. It's all part of modern go-ahead Britain, in which we hold all the cards and our sovereignty is returned, and anyone who says otherwise is a Ramona traitor Marxist. Christmas Eve will be mostly dry. Mostly. But there is an exception, of course. I bet there is. Checking while you wait. Aha! Wow. This is the forecast for Glasgow. It is raining at the moment. And it will be raining tomorrow, and raining on Sunday, and raining on Monday, and raining on Tuesday, and raining on Wednesday, and raining on Thursday, and raining on Friday. And then on New Year's Eve, the following Saturday, it's going to be raining. And it'll be raining on the following Sunday, and raining on Monday, and raining on Tuesday, and raining on Wednesday, and raining on Thursday, and raining every day for the rest of your lives. Damn it! Saturday, early rain and hill snow over Scotland, slowly clearing from the south, otherwise generally brighter than today. Milder than of late in the north. Outlook for Sunday to Tuesday, mild, rain, showers. Not rain or showers, rain and showers. You're going to get both. Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the next few weeks?
No.
OK, this is until the 6th of January. At first, unsettled conditions will continue bringing cloud and rain. It will be windy. And at the end of the year, more rain. Temperatures close to or slightly below normal. That's till the 6th of January. And then the middle 2 weeks of January, blimey, it's practically the end of February already. It's almost Easter. Saturday the 7th to the 21st of January. Periods of wet and windy weather in the middle of next month. A chance of snow and temperatures are likely to be a bit below normal. Periods of wet and windy weather, a chance of snow and temperatures are likely to be a bit below normal. Well, I suppose we're going to have to take it. This says, did you see the humanitarian Rishi Sunak selflessly dishing out food for the homeless? No, I didn't. What did he wear? I'd love to know. Send me a picture. He didn't dress up in somebody else's work clothes, did he?
Oh, fabulous.
I mean, that got tired when Bodger was doing it.
Yeah.
It doesn't suit you, fishy. Mr. Cashmere Hoodie. A true man of the people, says Adam in Slough. He didn't look out of place or anything. Not out of place nor nothing. A smug.
My view.
God, that took forever. Forever. Like I pressed that last week. I think this computer system has already gone away for the Christmas period. In about a couple of minutes, I'm going to press one of these things, and it's going to come up out of office until the 3rd of January. This says, Nick, did you hear about Orange Jesus? And Orange Jesus and his tax returns.
Don't be rude.
It says, more evidence he's a totally stable genius, says Rafi. Well, I heard that we were going to see his tax returns, but have we actually seen them yet? I wonder. He says, throwing a question to his glamorous assistant, who I think is doing a crossword. Have we seen Trump's tax returns yet?
No, I'll keep an eye on them.
We don't know. Essentially, we're saying, not a clue. What are you asking us for? This is, evening, Nick. I'm rewatching the Mission Impossible films and have just finished the second film, the one about the Chimera virus. That motorbike chase at the end was superb. The only other action film is better as the John Wick trilogy. Please watch them if you haven't. Keanu and his dog are just fab. I'll say no more, says Rona. Hey, Rona, you've said too much. I did see that Mission Impossible 2 once. It's pretty much the only one that I've only seen once, because that motorbike chase at the end was not superb. It just went on forever. It was painful. But maybe I'll give it another go, Rona. Leave it with me. Let's have... Oh, come on, not straight out of the... I mean, I appreciate the call and all, but it can't be the same, like, two people who start every show. It just can't. 0345 6060 973. This says, you keep saying how a heated throw is much better than a heated blanket. We use both. And I can confirm the blanket is much better. It heats you up quicker and it lasts longer. Please stop spreading fake news. You tofu... you tofu-eating, left-winging Jeremy Corbyn lover. Says Ahmed from Leicester. Yeah, okay. Well, the thing with a blanket is that it has to go flat in the bed, as far as I'm aware. But a throw, you can cuddle around yourself for maximum snuggles. And you want to look for that on the packaging. Maximum snuggles. Look for that exact wording. And then legally you'll be safe. You don't have to put the text and the emails separately, because there's absolutely no reason why you would do that. You could group them by topic, if you like.
Sorry, I was just doing the crossword.
Alphabetically by topic. Let's try that. It's his last day. He don't care. This says, hi, Nick, it's not just the country that's not working. I've had a listen to your Christmas podcast with McGiffin, and you sounded like you was doing you bit in a toilet. What? It sounded like I was doing my part of the podcast in a toilet, you mean? Talk about sounding like you was an empty room. Merry Christmas, says Rob. Well, I understand each and every word that you've used there, Rob, just not the order in which you've used them. Yeah, I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Oh, right, yeah.
We have our Christmas special, which is out. It just came out on Monday, and it is a ho-ho hoot and a half. You'll love it. It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? Our big Christmas special, it's actually really good. It might be the best one that we've done this year. And it does contain something of a confession from McGiffin.
Yeah.
Something that perhaps she didn't want us to know. She blurted it out, and I kept it in. being I am the decider.
Absolutely.
Being as how I do the editing. But we got through a lot of people's problems, and I think we did a pretty good job of solving each and every one of them. Each and every single festive problem was solved to the inquirer's total satisfaction. I bet you want to ask for it by name on an internet near you. It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol, and we'll be back with a new episode in the new year, but there are over 100. I think there's over 130. We could be getting on for 150 episodes up on the World Wide Web, and if you wish to be amused, you'll love it. 0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nicka@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10, Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
And remember, darling, I don't work before 10 in the morning and never after 4:30 in the afternoon.
And you too can be a radio presenter. This says Mr. Invisible, also known as Rishi Sunak, doesn't have a Scooby-Doo how to run the country. That makes 5 PMs in a row. He knows how to make money. They all knew that, but for themselves and their cronies. They regard the UK and its population as an asset to be stripped. They've all but succeeded with the country on its knees, and when their pockets are full, they'll be off to sunnier climes, leaving an equally clueless, if slightly less greedy Labour MP in their wake, says Andrew in Herne Hill, who is probably completely correct in every respect. There was this poll that came out this week. I cannot believe it. If you haven't heard it yet, then sit down and grip onto something firm. A new poll has found that, I can barely say this out loud. A new poll, I'll do a run-up at it. A new poll has found that Boris Johnson is regarded as the most competent of 2022's 3 prime ministers. You've got to be kidding me, right? I mean, what a question. Who's the most competent of our prime ministers so far this year? I mean, we've got a week left. Who knows what might happen? I mean, can you even remember the prime ministers that we've had over the last 12 months? Extra points for getting them in order.
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
Extra points.
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
You get extra points for getting it in order. A total of 32% of respondents said that they thought Bodger Johnson had been the most competent of the 3 prime ministers that we've suffered under this year, followed by 29% for Fishy Sunak. Just 3% said Liz the Blunder Truss.
That is a disgrace.
And I'll do the mental arithmetic for you live on the radio.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to add it up. So for Boris Johnson...
Yeah. Wait a minute.
There was 32%. For Fishy...
This government will have integrity at every level.
He is funny, no?
No.
Fishy got 29% and 3 for the Blunder Truss.
Absolutely.
So that's 64% in all. I mean, I can check that with the man who knows numbers.
So obviously,
I'd rather shave my head with a cheese grater. 64% in all, which means 36%, the majority, said none of the above. 0. And they're the only people who knew what they were talking about. And the same question was asked to those who voted for the Conservative Party in the 2019 election. Among Tory voters, 62% said that Blobby Johnson was the most competent. 22% said Fishy, and just 4% said the Blunder Truss. 62% of fans of the regime said, "Oh, leave him alone, he's doing his best." And as an aside, by the way, the same poll found that a majority, 57% of the British public, believe that nothing in Britain works anymore.
Correct.
I mean, can you think of any, or 3, perhaps, people in particular that might be responsible for that? Clueless. You can colour me clueless. Here is a call in Harrow. Maddie. Harrow.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I am great, mate.
Really like your show,
Oh,
especially
thanks.
your sound effects. I really wish I had that when I was talking to people as well.
Well, if you study and work really hard, then you could have one too.
Yeah, I'm okay. Anyway, talking about this broken country you were talking about and the amount of incompetency there is from our Prime Minister to most, I would say, people that work in the courts or any government-run programs. But like just the amount I've seen of things happening from the nurses, from people not getting paid what they're supposed to, from just amounts and everything I've seen. And then something that broke my anger barrier, let's say, in the past month was the coverage of the World Cup and how everything was so focused, but no one would ever say that where are we going to run the World Cup next, or where has the World Cup been run before? Russia or China or many other countries that have the same problems that we do. Or even if we run the World Cup now, what kind of coverage is there going to be? Are we going to say that, by the way, instead of focusing on the game, let's talk about how the government is refusing to pay nurses what they're due, even though they're the ones that take care of you if you're going to go and if you're possibly going to die.
I don't know really where this is going or actually where we've just been. I mean, it's been a short trip that we've been enjoying together so far, Maddie, but honestly, it's just a blur so far. So what are you saying? What is your main complaint?
My main complaint is that I wish that we would focus on our problems first,
right,
and then we would judge others.
Aren't we doing that?
Because, not really.
Well, and when you say we, do you mean us, the public, or the TV companies?
No, us, the public, the media, especially the media.
Right. So can I just boil it down? What you're saying is that you don't like the coverage of Qatar's policy on minorities, and you don't like that we pointed it out. We should have concentrated on the football.
No, of course that should be pointed out. I spoke about it
why should it be pointed out?
Because it's wrong.
What's
Things
wrong?
That are wrong should be pointed out.
But which bit of it is wrong? Us pointing it out, or it happening?
No, it happening. It being allowed to even happen. The
discrimination happening, or us talking about the discrimination?
Discrimination. I believe there is discrimination happening against a Middle Eastern country.
Oh, right. Okay. Now I get it. Okay. Right. It took a while to sort of boil down to what it was that you're actually saying, and you're essentially sticking up for Qatar. And you're decrying the meanies who say that they aren't, acting in a decent way to those that can defend themselves the least. That's it, isn't it, Maddie?
No, correct. No, I believe the discrimination happened. However, I do believe Qatar has to answer for what they've done. They didn't treat their workers right.
Right.
There's a lot of things that went wrong. They cut a lot of corners.
Yeah, but they're not answering for what they've done.
So they should be talked about.
But they have been talked about. I thought that's what you were complaining on.
But not during
not while there's a football match on. Why not?
Because people wanted to focus on the game.
But people can focus on the game.
I believe that as well. But for example,
I mean, when I was watching the game, you know what I was thinking of? The game.
Yeah. Of course, me too. I had bets on the game as well.
So what are you complaining about? You're complaining that people actually raised an issue of worldwide interest, while something else was happening at the same time.
Maybe
Right,
that's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay, well, that's no kind of point at all. I mean, can we make an appointment to discuss other countries' mean and cruel policies? Do we personally have to be free of meanness and cruelty before we can comment on another country? Does our history have to be wiped clean of all mean acts before we can comment on another country's beastliness? No sale, Maddie, but better luck next time. 0345 6060 973. There was some guy who said, this happens every year. This is sort of a right-wing whining about attacks on Christmas. Fox News in America, every year they do the same thing. It's an attack on Jesus. There's nobody says Merry Christmas anymore. Name me a single street in this entire country where nobody says Merry Christmas anymore. There isn't. It's just this right-wing adopting this mantle of victimhood. Everyone's picking on me. They've ruined Christmas. Now you can't say Happy Christmas. Who doesn't say Happy Christmas? Anyway, this says, I hope Glasgow has a sunny Christmas this year. Not sure even Santa can bring that to them, however, says Luke. Luke, you are completely correct in every respect. They'll never see the sun again. Bristol. Hello, John.
Hello?
John.
Yes. Oh, Nick Abbott. You and James O'Brien, you blimmin'... Yeah, blimmin' left-wing, liberal, lefty,
Ramonas.
Islington, Ramona elite.
Islington? Well, that's where I draw the line. Islington, I would never go to Islington. That's the most offensive part of what you just said.
Banging about human rights.
Human rights.
Hey, don't get me started. Hey, you and James O'Brien.
Yeah,
hey,
you said that part.
Brexit. Oh,
I know.
Honestly,
awful. Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Sovereignty, freedom.
No, it is hysterical though. It would be funny if it wasn't so bloody tragic.
Yeah.
The fact that
I think we started at funny, then went to tragedy, and then it's got so tragic we're back out the other side at funny again.
Yes, indeed. And in the last 12 and a half years, we've had a government that have overseen the tripling of food banks and homelessness up to 200%.
While inflicting an austerity that was supposed to balance the books, and we are in more debt now than we were at the beginning of the 12 years of austerity.
Oh, yes.
So there was a lot of money sluicing around, but I don't know anybody who got any. Do you?
No. Well, they've tripled the national debt since 2010. Yeah. Doubled it. It's like $2.5 trillion now.
Yeah,
I mean, these people are crooks in suits, Nick.
I know they are, and they will go to the next election on their financial probity.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Hey, maybe the turkeys should stop voting for Christmas.
Exactly. Yes. All right. Thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. Maybe turkeys should stop voting for Christmas. Would that be a good idea? Oh, leave them alone. They're doing their best. 3% of the people that were asked to express a preference said that Liz Truss was the most competent Prime Minister we've had this year.
That is a disgrace.
The Dalek. 3%. I think they asked 1,000 people, which is a pretty small survey, but, whatever. But of that 1,000 people, 30 actually said out loud that Liz Truss was their number one Prime Minister of the year. They got the thumbs up. They're walking around. They may be sitting next to you right now. They could be standing behind you in a supermarket queue. You could be related to one of them. Hi, Nick. This country is sinking faster than the Titanic. Never mind, though. It's Christmas, and my brother wants a Jacob Rees-Mogg Christmas tree fairy. Everything's fine, says Tom in Sevenoaks. A Christmas tree fairy?
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
He doesn't know anything about that. Or anything else, for that matter. I know there's a Jacob Rees-Mogg Christmas a calendar of him lounging in his scanties on a sofa.
Disgusting.
Nobody wants to see that. Put it away, Smog. This says, how many Britons felt the lettuce was our most competent leader? The lettuce. The lettuce, Liz.
I'm genuinely unclear.
Yeah, she's unclear as to whether she was the worst Prime Minister we've had or the lettuce was. I'd forgotten about the lettuce. Hey, you know what? That's going to be an L, if anybody remembers to call it in, on the A to Z of 2022, which starts 10 p.m. tomorrow. We will already be, I'll be up to my eyeballs in A's by this time tomorrow. 10 p.m. Christmas Eve, the A to Z of 2022 starts, and it finishes on New Year's Eve. It is a perfect gap between Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve in which to fit the entire alphabet. Every letter gets an hour of its own, apart from the very hard bit at the end. X, Y, Z. Who can think of anything from that? So we'll squeeze all the difficult bit. I don't know. Whoever made the alphabet is a moron because they put all the difficult ones right at the end, as though they'd just forgotten about them and thought, we'll just chuck them at the end. Nobody uses them anyway. So that's what we'll do. Starting tomorrow at 10 p.m, the A to Z of 2022 with me, Nick Abbott, on LBC. Oh, blimey, look at the time. Just past 10:30.
Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
Yeah, we're somewhat short on laughs. Evening, Nick. What crossword is your producer doing? He sounds a bit D-mob happy, this being his last day and all, says Archie in Inverness. Are you HAPPY?
5 across.
Huh? 5 across. What is it? I'll help you.
I'm struggling. Yeah, starts with a B, ends in a T.
Starts with a B, ends in a T. B, and then, how many letters?
7.
6 or 7. It's one of those numbers. Crosswords, they don't really require accuracy. If you've got too many letters, you can just squeeze 2 letters in the one square. Nobody cares. This says, definition of competence. If Boris is voted top, perhaps the pollsters asked the wrong question or left out the prefix, says Phil in Brighton. Let's have Bath. Hello, John.
Hello,
John.
Hey, I tell you what, it's just apropos of nothing. But do you know the director who did Get Carter?
No,
Mike Hodges.
I don't.
Well, we personally probably not, but neither do I. But he directed Michael Caine in Get Carter in the 70s.
Right, a lot of people know that.
Indeed, yes. But he died this week.
Oh, yes.
But I had no idea he also directed Flash Gordon.
Saviour of the universe.
Rock and roll! Yeah, it's the weirdest combination because you go from Get Carter, like a gangster movie, to Gordon's alive.
Well, how about the Raiders of the Lost Ark to Schindler's List?
Oh, that's very true as well. Oh, by the way, do you know I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago, and some it doesn't matter if you remember it. Some moron rang up because I recommended you would look at the film's Wick.
Oh yeah,
and some moron intimated that I'd had a couple of drinks, which I didn't.
A couple of drinks, booze.
Yeah. And he said there was no plot, which is not true, actually. I just think he wasn't intelligent enough to see the plot. But just give it a go, honestly.
Right. Well, we've already established that they were a moron. You don't really need to add anything further. We'll ignore everything they say on any subject. All right, well spotted there, John. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. This says, my husband, who is over 65, still wants to vote Tory. Can I divorce him, says Isabel. Isabel, yes, yes, you can. I'm not sure that that's grounds for divorce, but it's worth a go. 0345 6060 973. And it's at this time of year when people's thoughts turn to divorce. Bromley, hello, Joe.
Hello, mate. Funny enough, we were just talking about that tonight, me and my wife.
Oh, yes.
Isn't it a crazy world? Can it get any crazier? I mean, can it actually get any crazier?
Well, did you think that they could find a worse Home Secretary than Priti Patel? They managed to find a way.
Oh, my goodness gracious me. I mean, the mayhem that is being caused at the moment is insurmountable, I would suggest. I mean, are we beyond redemption here at all? Are we?
Well,
I really do believe we are.
This entire country is taking on water. I believe we're going down.
You take everything into perspective. You read the papers.
Too much bleeping perspective.
Where is the perspective anymore? We're utterly lost. I mean, we're completely lost. We have had 12 years of austerity. we're told to tighten our belts. We're tightening them so much now that, your belly's meeting your backbone.
Yep.
Well, it's beyond a joke. People are going on strike because they've had enough.
Yeah, we're up an alley without a sat-nav.
Well, what are we going to do about it? How can we achieve a state of repair?
Joe, this is the new reality. It's called freedom. Get used to it.
Can I ask you a question, Nick? Is there, and it's occurred to me that there's some sort of weird conundrum going on. There's a master plan at work here. I do believe, I'm beginning to believe, it could be possible. Growth is stagnant. There is no growth. What's the best way to get growth? Smash it to bits and start again.
Right.
And I think we're almost even. That there may be powers that are in existence that are actively trying to do it.
Well, if they're not trying to smash the country up, then they're doing a very, very bad job in not doing that. If they are trying to smash the country up just to find little bits of it that they can sell off to their mates, then they're doing fantastically well. Select.
Have we anything left to sell off?
No, apart from the biggie.
Which is?
The NHS.
The NHS, yeah. You got it.
I got it in one.
Correct.
Yeah.
The inland revenue on the big clawback, we all know that. That's a fact. I'm living it. I'm part of it. They want that money back. They were throwing money away like it was going out of fashion. Now they want it back.
Yeah.
I'm getting letters, brown envelopes, dropping on my mat saying that money we gave you, we want it back. Oh, by the way, plus interest. Plus interest.
Joe, your problem is...
It's going to cost me money for the help that they gave me.
Yes. Your problem is that you owe the government a small amount of money. If you had taken the precaution to owe the government hundreds of millions of pounds, then they would have given you a freebie.
I thank you.
All right. I thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. 0345 6060 973. Another satisfied customer. This says, so we need more austerity. Times will be hard, say the people who it won't affect, who caused it, says Mr. Linton, which is very formal. I agree wholeheartedly, Mr. Linton. You got a good point there, Mr. Linton. This says, Milton Friedman, quote, could be associated to the Tories. If you want the federal government in charge of the Sahara Desert, in 5 years there'll be a shortage of sand. Says John in Sligo. Well, if sand was money, then yes. If you put the Tories in charge of money, within 5 years there'll be a shortage of money. There isn't actually a shortage of money. It's just gone to where it didn't used to be. I think at the beginning of... this desk is very loud. I mean, I'm not really... I'm doing it to make a point, but every time I just move, it's like rumbling thunder. That's not right, is it? Something's not right in here. I'm blaming my producer. Guilty.
Still on the crossword.
Still on the crossword. A 5-letter word beginning with B and ending in T. Fleet in Hampshire. Hello, James.
Hello, Nick. I was just thinking about your list of worst prime ministers this year.
Yeah.
And looking over the Atlantic to an Orange ex-president who's in a bit of trouble.
Yes.
And he might think about escaping that trouble by invoking his Scottish heritage to get British citizenship.
Yes.
And then he could stand in our general election in 2024, become our next prime minister. And although he's missed it to 2022, he might be coming as one of the best PMs in the 2020s.
Yeah, ever. Nobody is a better prime minister than me. Everybody says so. That's a pretty...
that was a horrifying thought that struck me.
Pretty frightening scenario you just outlined for us there, James, and I appreciate you making things worse. Thanks a lot, mate. It actually could be... I suppose it could be worse, but I can't imagine how. Other than getting the whiner to take over from our present incumbent.
I am the most fabulous whiner. And I'm a whiner, and I keep whining and whining.
This says the 3% who thought Liz Truss was the best PM were 1% of the wealthiest and 2% of the stupidest, says Paul. Well, that's just a good point. This says, why do MPs, every time they visit a hospital, walk around in their shirts with their sleeves rolled up and look as though they're going to give a hand in a delivery ward, says John. Every time you see a Prime Minister, in particular, or an MP in general, photographed in somebody else's workplace, they have gone there with the sole intention of getting that photograph. All other considerations are secondary. They're not remotely interested in actually solving the problem that may exist in that institution, because if they were, they'd be at work, working on it. Not dressing up in other people's work clothes for a snap. What can they do in a hospital that they can't do in their office? I mean, is this news to them that we actually have a health service? They want to go and take a peek at it themselves? What is this hospital thing of which you speak? And if they did want to fix it, then their office is where they would fix it. Not talking to somebody who's like half awake in a bed. That health minister, though, Barclay, he really got it in the ear from a nice lady whose daughter was in bed. Did you see that? That's worth looking at. His entire life drained right out of him because he couldn't run away. He was stuck there, taking it. And she was like the hero of the year. Take that. 0345 6060 973. Martin says, I'm with the lettuce. The lettuce was the best Prime Minister of the year. Honestly, you look back at what's happened in this country in the last year, and I've written, as we've been going along, I've sort of been writing what would you call it? A sort of a diary of what's been happening, some of the stupider things that have happened in this country. I'm going to put it in the book that will contain the A to Z, because I'll sort the A to Z out, which is going to be a massive undertaking. It always is, because you've got to put them all in alphabetical order, and then you've got to check each and every one that the thing that people thought happened this year actually happened this year. This is in the A to Z, in case I didn't make that clear. I was just rambling nonsensically. In the A to Z of 2022, I have to get all of the things in order and make sure that they're completely accurate in every way, shape and form. But you know me, I never complain.
Stop whining.
0345 6060 973. My point is that is going to come out as a book in the new year. The full A to Z, plus my write-up of the stupidest things that have happened this year, of which there are plenty. No end of material. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday and Sunday.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
This is absolute tosh.
0345 6060 973. This says things could have been much more better with PM Boris. Never will we have nurses going on strike. He always figure things out. Time to bring back Boris. He is identified with the commoners. Yeah, you certainly sound like a fan. Here's a call in Oxford. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Nick. Good evening.
Yes, Tom.
Yeah, happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas. Thank you.
And I just want to say, Nick, this is the best thing which has happened to my life. Your show, I absolutely love it. Yeah.
Well, that's very nice of you, Tom. If a little sad at the same time.
Secondly, Nick,
yes.
I really need your sound effects in my life, because I've been living by them recently, and I think I just need to have them on my phone so I could just press them to respond.
Right. Well, good luck with that.
I'll give you an example. When my wife comes back from work and she starts complaining, I just say whinging, whining.
Whining and moaning.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Yes.
And she never finds that funny anyway. But
no.
I just have a couple of I
wouldn't think so, no.
And I was going to suggest something, Nick. I think you, Ranjit, and myself should have a podcast, Think about your Scottish accent, Ranjit's Birmingham accent, and my posh Northwest accent.
Okay, well, let me think about that for a second.
No.
No, it's a big no from me.
And the final point, Nick.
Yes, in closing.
I always listen on catch-up, and I find myself wanting to call when I'm listening on catch-up. So can you make that possible? Can you just stay in the office 247 so I can call you when I need to?
Right. Okay, well, I'll give you my personal phone number. Have you got a pen?
Yep.
All right, thanks a lot, Tom. 0345 6060 973. In fact, here's my address. Just pop over any time you need some advice or sound effects. This says, Pretty Awful has done a Christmas card. Apparently it's of the highest taste, says Tim. Well, whoever came up with the design may have been high when they did it. That's the only explanation I can find. Good grief. Former Home Secretary, and that in itself is a stunner, ain't it? She used to be the Home Secretary. Can you believe that?
No.
Former Home Secretary Priti Patel, under whose tenure the Rwanda scheme was launched, sent out a Christmas card to political contacts. Isn't that festive and fun?
Negative.
No, because on the front of a card that there's a cartoon of Patel as a fairy on top of a Christmas tree, magicking baubles onto the tree, which read, Rwanda, point system and law and order. It's like a shopping list of performative cruelty that have been total failures. But that was presumably not what she was going for. But what exactly was she going for? Who sends a Christmas card with the removal of refugees as its main theme? Is this real life or am I hallucinating? I mean, it could be another one of their increasingly desperate attempts to distract us from their catastrophic failure at absolutely everything. Or did she really have somebody draw the cartoon, then buy the cards and put a stamp on them and pop them in the post? If so, is she totally out of her mind? But it's worse than that, because sitting at the bottom of the tree is Boris Johnson.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Shown as a child, opening his presents. Although I'm not totally sure he's supposed to be a child, because he always looks like a child. It's his act. His hair's all messy and he's untucked, and it looks like he's opening presents after having been told not to. Because, that's his thing. Rules are for the little people, not leprechauns. Hair's all messy, he's untucked, doing something he shouldn't ought to. It certainly sounds like a grown-up bodger. Any thoughts, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
But why would he be under Priti Patel's Christmas tree? I mean, is he her present? I would say that only Bodger would have given the job of Home Secretary to Priti Patel, but then Fishy Sunak one-upped him and gave the job to Cruella de Ile. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, it did.
Oh, fabulous.
And reacting to Patel's choice of Christmas card, a Liberal Democrat Home Affairs spokesmodel called Alistair Carmichael said, "This is the Christmas card of someone who read the Nativity story and thought King Herod had the right idea." He said if Priti Patel had been around, Mary, Joseph and Jesus would have been on their way to Rwanda before the three wise men could have arrived. Yeah, that's it, Jesus. You've had your chance to be born to a rich family, but you chose to be born to a carpenter and a stay-at-home mother, so you get nothing. 0345 6060 973. West Midlands, Ranjit.
Hiya, Nick. You okay?
Whose ears are burning, having been discussed in the previous call.
Well, you was discussed in my shop today as well.
Oh, yeah.
Nick. A lovely lady called Kim. She says she stays up all night listening to you and me have our banter. But she's your number one fan.
Hello, Kim.
So, hello, Kim.
Hello.
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 And I did say I would say hello to her. Right, before I come on to my main point I want to talk about, Rishi Sunak,
could be somewhere in his electric car that had blackouts, dishing out free water from the tap where they got no plumbing water for how many days has it been now? 6-7 days.
Can you believe it?
I thought they was talking about the Sahara Desert where they got no water. England where it rains all the time.
All
right?
the time.
We've got no,
all the time. We ain't got no water here.
We got no water. That is absolutely disgusting. And, obviously I'm one of your regular callers and I appreciate speaking to you. How long is it going to be before the dinglings say, why is it all the Asians are phoning Nick Abbott for? Because I've been watching reading a bit of social media.
Oh, no, don't do that.
I don't, but for research purposes, guys doing his crossword.
Yeah.
And people are saying, why is it that in the adverts there's so many ethnics, right? People like myself. Okay. Now, you promote the podcast where you can save electricity, right?
Yeah.
Where you can skip the adverts and that. So I don't watch a lot of live TV. So I skip the adverts.
No, me either. I never watch live TV. The only thing that I would ever watch live, I think the only thing I've watched live this year was the World Cup final.
And me, ditto, right? So these people, right, have got to be real saddos, right, to watch the
reason that people would think that, and this is not an original thought, by which I do not mean to add that as a criticism, but people have said this before. Oh, there's so many non-white faces in adverts these days. What's that about? What they mean is not everybody is white. And so they notice when everybody was white, they didn't notice that everybody was white. It just seemed like that's normal.
Right.
And they introduce some people who don't look like them, and then that's all they see. They ignore all of the white people in adverts and concentrated on the 10% or so of adverts that actually have non-white faces in them.
Yeah. So I pointed out, look at the goal scorers, right? In the England team. Yeah. Look at the cricketers. I mean, this young lad, right?
No, that's where I draw the line. Cricketers, absolutely not.
No. Okay, even the footballers, yeah? All our athletes, yeah, have been of, mixed race or non-white, yeah? So what I'm trying to say, everything is generated around hatred and division, right?
It is interesting, by the way. I mean, I can't be the only person who has noticed that the makeup of the England team does not reflect the makeup of the country as a whole. It is highly skewed in one way, which is not the case with the population at large, which does beg several questions. Amongst them is, are non-white people actually better at football?
Well, I don't know, okay?
But there's got to be some reason, because you look at almost every team in at the World Cup, and the makeup of look at France, for instance, same thing. The makeup of the team does not reflect the makeup of the population at large. Now, you'd think that in a mostly white country, white people would get some sort of a boost, even if it's unintentional. You just, it's white privilege, if you want to put it like that.
No.
I certainly don't want to go down that route on this show, but it is interesting. I mean, as you brought it up, that the teams don't reflect the demographic at large. So there's got to be a reason for that.
No, that's what people are talking about, that the adverts don't reflect the demographics.
Well, that's not a new. It's not a new thought.
No,
it happens every week that people watch adverts. My recommendation is don't watch adverts on television. Problem solved. All right, thanks a lot, Ranjit. I watch all adverts at 32 times normal speed. Doesn't everybody? I don't know why people are wasting their money on television adverts. Spend your money on radio adverts. People are delighted to sit to the end of those because something great will happen thereafter. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
What number are you calling from?
0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. Twitter @LBC. Chingford. Hello, John.
Oh, hi, Nick. You're on blistering form tonight, I must say.
Thanks.
Yeah, I did just a bit about films. Actually, before I get into a couple of recommendations, I'm purely a physical media guy. You know, I don't do streaming. I like to own the films I love.
Yeah.
But, you know, you get this, what's Blu-ray, Grandpa?
Exactly.
But, yeah, so I don't know, are you a streamer or an owner or
Well, now, a year ago, I would have said, I will not stream, not now, not ever, never. And then somebody introduced me to the world of high-definition audio.
Oh, wow.
And it is so much better than CDs that, and I thought, I can either send this company 70 quid for as much music as I can listen to in a year, or I'll have to go out and start rebuying all of my favourite albums on ultra high definition downloads.
Right.
So I now stream, yes.
But what about movies? And movies as well?
Well, I'm signed up to a satellite television provider, and so
okay, yeah.
I just watch their channels.
Yeah, no, good. No, it's just my favourite films I just like to own, whether it be Blu-ray or they've got this ultra 4K
that is the
HD.
problem, though, with owning, is that within a couple of years they're going to invent something better.
Absolutely. Well, they just want you to buy the same thing multiple times, really.
Exactly. I've bought every David Bowie album at least twice, sometimes 3 times.
Yeah, it's planned obsolescence, isn't it, really?
The vinyl first off, and then the CD when that came out, and then, of course, you've got to buy the CD remaster when that comes out, and now they've got something that's even better than that, which is ultra-high-definition music.
Oh, right. Yeah, wow. I'll have to keep a look at it on that. Just a couple of... a gentleman phoned earlier mentioned about Mike Hodges, who passed away recently. The follow-up to Get Carter, I mean, there's a film called Pulp with Michael Caine, but nobody's ever heard of it or really seen it. But it was an excellent film.
Pulp,
P-U-L-P. It was the follow-up. It's a film. Yeah. And it was the follow-up to Get Carter, but it's a film that's kind of got lost in the ether. But it's a really good film.
Okay, I'll look it up.
And the other, I wanted just one more. We talked about hitmen movies. I mean, to me, the second greatest hitman movie ever made was called Ghost Dog: Way of the Samurai, and it is excellent. If you like a really great action movie.
Hitman movie? That's not a genre.
Well, I don't know. It's about a hit person.
Hit person. Are we not allowed to actually state their sex out loud? A hit person, you say?
Well, I don't know. I mean, just being
somebody who was identifying as a hit person, right? Okay, well, you give me a lot. The best one, what?
No, the Ghost Dog: Way of the Samurai is excellent. Right. Yeah,
it's a film about dogs.
Late 90s, 1999. That's a really good action movie, but the action's credible. It's not like these things where there's an explosion every 5 minutes. It's could actually happen.
Then forget it.
So maybe you wouldn't like.
What kind of dogs are they?
Well, no, he's very fond of pigeons in the movie, of all things. I don't think there's any dogs in it.
Right out for me. No thanks.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I thought the best movie about hitmen was Don Siegel's The Killers with Lee Marvin. And
you keep saying
John
that like it's a
Cassavetes.
genre. Nobody ever goes into, or when they were around, went into Blockbusters and said, "Can I see your hitmen genre, please? Where are your hitmen films?" It doesn't exist.
Well, I like
apart
films
from
about hitmen, really.
about people killing other people. I understand that. Who doesn't? All right. Thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. Martin says the blundertress always appeared to bounce out of number 10 with a mad grin all over her face. Says observative, not conservative, Martin. A mad grin truss.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wonder why. Carolyn Newark says, at least the whole country wasn't striking when Liz Truss was PM. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Mind you, in the brief period that she was PM, we would have had to all organise to all go on strike on the same day. Otherwise, her tenure was so brief, we would have missed it. This says, Dear Nick, let us never forget that when the NHS was first proposed after the Second World War, every Tory member of the House of Commons voted against it. I wish you and yours a happy Christmas. All the best, says James. Well, I don't know that that's true, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. They just, hang on a minute. Wait. There we go. They just voted against this. This came and went without any comment whatsoever. In the interests of openness and transparency, the government has blocked an attempt to force ministers to be more open and transparent, particularly about the lavish hospitality they receive as part of the job. Oh, I can only dream of having lavish hospitality. Can you imagine? The Tories voted down an amendment which would bring rules on freebies and perks for members of the government into line with those for backbench MPs. So there's rules for Tory ministers and there's rules for everyone else. And the Tories get a pass on the stuff they get as freebies. They don't have to tell us what they get or who they get it from. That's what they voted to keep secret. So MPs have to tell us who gives them tickets to places and free flights to here and there and all that sort of stuff. You know, presents, is a watch, that kind of thing. MPs have to say who it is that that was doing the giving and what it is that was given. But Tories voted down an amendment which would bring those rules on freebies and perks into line with those for backbench MPs for ministers. That doesn't sound in any way suspicious, does it?
Yes.
A little bit. The Commons backed recommendations from the Committee on Standards aimed at strengthening the MP's Code of Conduct. The Committee on Standards. Funny, no?
No.
But in a free vote, more than 200 MPs opposed measures that would see ministers asked to register with parliamentary authorities any third-party hospitality worth more than £300 within 28 days. You know, in the interest of openness and transparency. But why would anybody give an MP a freebie or a gift or some present if they weren't intending that government policy is changed to suit them? Or they're given warning of a change that could affect them. You know, unless they were absolutely besotted with that MP's animal magnetism. Ministers currently have to declare gifts they receive in their ministerial capacity that are worth more than £140. So now it's £300. You could call that a 105% rise in perks. They're worth it. They're the best politicians that money can buy.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
0345 6060 973. This says, the last 5 prime ministers aren't a great advertisement for Oxbridge, are they? No, they really aren't. And almost nothing that's happened in this country, for as long as I can remember, is a great advert for Eton, by the way. Bromley. Hello, Norman.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Good morning. We were, one of your people were talking earlier about directors making various genres of films.
Yes.
Something different. There's a very interesting gentleman called Alexander McKendrick who directed Whiskey for Law, The Man in the White Suit, Lady Killers, and then went and filmed or directed Sweet Smell of Success. So going completely from one of the most quintessential British films. So I don't know if you've ever seen Sweet Smell of Success with Tony Curtis and Burt Lancaster, but
I haven't.
I recommend that you do. It's a brilliant film, actually, and he's all I say. Just
well,
a recommendation.
You're not actually giving me homework, are you?
Yes, absolutely.
Sir,
that's what IMDb is for.
Right. Okay. Good work there, Norman. Thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. I tried to find a film to watch at Christmas, but I couldn't really come up with anything. So I decided to watch The White Lotus Series 1 again. And it's amazing how much I missed. There's characters in Series 1 that showed up in Series 2 that I didn't even remember. Excellent programme. I think it's my favourite TV programme of the year, The White Lotus second series. Last year, it was something that actually came up today. It was in the news today because the chap who was the subject of it just got released from jail. It was The Serpent. If you haven't seen the BBC TV series called The Serpent about, spoiler alert, warning, a serial killer, then you have to watch it. It is great. That was the best thing I saw last year. White Lotus Series 2, the best thing I saw this year. You know, in case you're interested. Anybody interested?
No.
Well, at least it wasted a lot of time telling you about it, eh? 0345 6060 973. York, Jan.
Hello, Nick.
Jan.
How are you tonight?
I am great, mate.
Good. Nick, do you like Christmas cake?
Yes.
And do you have it with cheese?
Cheese?
Yeah.
Actually, yes, that is a good combination. Christmas cake and cheese. It is a good one, yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, because a lot of people, when you say, would you like a piece of cheese with that?
Yes.
They say, what? Cheese with Christmas cake? Never.
No, it's good because it's sweet, and cheese matches well with sweet things.
It goes really well, doesn't it?
You know what would be really good is if you melted the cheese over the Christmas cake.
Oh, I think that's going a bit far.
A little bit far, right? Okay. That is a line beyond which you will not go.
What cheese do you think's best?
Well, I'm thinking it can't be. I originally was going to say like a Gouda or one of them Swiss cheeses, but that's a big fat no. It has to be something really strong that can hold up on its own. So I'm thinking good old-fashioned cheddar cheese.
Yeah, that's a good one, but I think
strong cheddar.
Originally, it was Wensleydale. And that goes really well as well.
Right. Well, there's not much call for that around these parts.
Really? Why not? It's a lovely cheese, is Wensleydale.
Well, it's not popular around these parts, Jan.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's not very good.
Ask me what the most popular cheese is around these parts.
What is the most popular cheese around those parts?
Ilchester.
Really?
It's staggeringly popular around this manor squire, and etc. and so on. I'm not going to sit here and do that, but thanks, Jan. Appreciate it. I swear the best things in Monty Python were just lists. They must have been quite easy to write. The two best sketches, well, the most famous ones they ever did, were lists. The cheese shop sketch is just a list of cheeses. And John Cleese's, his whole thing. Is it? All of that. And the Dead Parrot sketch is also a list. It's just a list of synonyms for dead. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. All they had to do was look up a thesaurus, but the word dead, and then just write it down. And then make it funny. That's the genius part. And then they made it funny. 0345 60. But Christmas cake and cheese sounds pretty good. In fact, I could do with a couple of buckets of that right now, as a matter of fact. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Shut up.
0345 6060 973. Just to remind you, the A to Z of 2022 starts 10 p.m. tomorrow night. Runs all the way through Christmas until New Year's Eve. The A to Z of 2022 starts tomorrow night at 10. Let's have a call in Leicester. David.
Oh, hello. You were talking about music earlier.
Yes. Was I?
I'm intrigued. What service do you use?
Well, without mentioning any brand names, you mean?
Yeah, okay. That's a little difficult.
A little difficult. But it's a French service. It's a company that is based in France. France.
Oh, dear.
Sorry about that.
I don't know. I have two services I use.
Two?
And two, yeah.
Right. Like stereo?
No, two different services. So
for music?
For subscription for one and one subscription Yeah.
But they both do music. Why do you need two?
One of the services has ultra high definition music on it.
Yes.
And the other one that sounds like something that comes from the sea doesn't have as much high definition music on it.
Fish.
Got a bigger range of music.
Shell. Squid.
But do you play vinyl?
I haven't even got a record player. Well, I do have a record player, but its needle has been broken for, let me think, about 50 years.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I've got. I've got a record deck, which it's my digital source, hands down. Well, it's very close. And then I've got, I've got a little bit of advertising here. I use a music system called Rune, and that lets me listen to LBC and all the other radio stations I want, and all the music that's on my hard disk.
Well, that sounds great.
It is, and I can control it all on my phone.
Wow, with your mind?
No, my phone. My phone. Anyway, another thing you were saying earlier.
And another thing, yes.
You were saying about these MPs that voted down the cabinet, revealing where they get their money from.
Freebies from, yes.
Yeah, okay. If Labour ever win an election, I bet you they don't bring that in.
Yeah, I bet they don't. I think you're probably right. I'm not sure that we'll ever be allowed to have another election. I think we're experiencing a coup. But if we get there, then we'll find out. All right, thanks a lot, David. The Labour Party seems to be indistinguishable from the Conservative Party. Or rather, they are indistinguishable from what the Conservative Party used to be. The Tory Party now, they appear to have been taken over by, well, I've got absolutely no idea who these people are anymore. Who are they and what do they want of us? Apart from all of our money, which they seem to have acquired. This says, it's time for something radical. It's time to welcome Donald John Trump. He qualifies as his mother is from Scotland. It's obvious you have nobody Indigenous capable of running the show. You should not have, a very bad word that I'll substitute for another one, got rid of, the great Boris Johnson.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
It depends. I think you're spelling great wrong there. Grate is how you spell great in that sentence. And you're quite right, he does great. Shouldn't have got rid of Boris Johnson. God. Probably the only reason that any of us are still alive is that we got rid of Boris Johnson. They had to, the Tory party had to sit and, just pause for a moment and take stock. That's why we're all still alive. I exaggerate for comic effect. But not by much. It says, if Fishy Rishi believes he's right in taking on the health service, the health unions, etc., then he should get some guts and put that theory to the test and hold an election in the new year. We all know that the Tories are deliberately running down our NHS, ready for privatisation, and they want to smash the unions, says Peter in Guildford. Well, whether or not they are deliberately running down the NHS is, it's debatable. If they're not trying to run down the NHS, they're doing an abysmal job. If they are trying to run down the NHS, then they're completely successful.
Correct.
So they're either abysmal or successful at doing something abysmal. Select. And that's for holding a general election in the new year. They're not going to do that until they're absolutely guaranteed they're going to win, which is where those ID cards come in. Solving a problem that doesn't exist by the introduction of ID cards for you to vote. And if you've got an ID card and you're an OAP, then you will get ushered to the front of the queue. If you have an ID card and you're a student, then I'm sorry, you fail. That's just democracy, that is. Lewisham, hello, Jane.
Hello, Nick.
Hello, Jane.
Do you think that our European neighbours are laughing at us?
Yes.
Well, anyway, we want them to be happy for a while and have a laugh. Right?
We want them to be happy. We're here to amuse them.
soon, they're going to need the motoring party to go and sort out all their problems.
Right, I've got no idea what that means, Jane, but it is something that you call up and say a lot, and about which I have zero interest. But I do appreciate the effort there, Jane, and a Merry Christmas to you and yours. 0345 6060 973. I mean, I could ask what that party is and what it stands for, but do you really want to know?
No.
I didn't think so. You'll regret it if you ask. So just don't ask. Just say no thank you. I mean, good manners don't cost nothing, do they?
Be polite.
This says Brexit, budget, bereft. Could be the answers to your glamorous assistant's crossword. Oh. Or names for this year's Prime Minister, says Andrew. Brexit, budget, bereft. Do any of those fit?
Yeah, getting warm.
Getting warm. This says, is the Priti Patel card meant to show her achievements or future Tory wishes? Please elucidate, says Ellie. I can't, Ellie, I'm doing a show. And this says, my favourite PM this year was Larry the Cat. Kindest regards and a happy Christmas. That's that Christmas that right-wingers say you can't say anymore. It's the war on Christmas. Same thing every year. What is wrong with those people? Who doesn't say Merry Christmas for crying out loud? But they all get their knickers in a twist and say that, oh, these lefty moaners, they've ruined Christmas by making it illegal to wish anybody a happy Christmas. Like anybody does that. Epping Forest. Hello, Carol.
Oh, hey, yes.
Have you ever heard anything like it in your life, Carol?
No, I haven't. But also, the thing I'm a bit concerned about, and I thought actually this could be your W if you're going to do it, is the wallpaper. Because I think that might come into the last year, because that seems to have gone on forever. But I was also thinking really in relation to the what do you call it? The expenses, that was it. You're saying £300 for the expenses.
Well, not expenses, no, gifts. Gifts from outside sources. They can give them anything they like, and they've just voted to keep us in the dark.
Yeah, I think that's too much. The 300 is way too much. And I was thinking, like, the wallpaper, how much was that? Was it like
I think it was
£800
£800 per roll. Yeah.
Yeah, so that I was thinking it's almost like you're encouraging them to, like, chunk it down into smaller amounts so that they wouldn't have to, you know.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's like, would you have to then chop the wallpaper up into sections?
Like if they got taken out for a really, really expensive meal, then they'd have a separate bill for the starter, the main, and the pudding, and the wine. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, because if on the town council, you have to, anything over £50, and if anybody gave you anything, that's really where you are. And you get paid like £100 a year for every single late night meeting that you go to. So I think that's really the benchmark that they should be on.
Right. Yeah, well, best of luck with that. Ministers currently have to declare gifts they receive in their ministerial capacity that are worth more than £140. So now it's £300 for, but only for the people at the very, very top, the elite. The cast of goons that are running this country. They've voted to, in the interest of openness and transparency, have become more opaque and covered.
Yeah, I definitely think they shouldn't have that, because you've got the guy, there's one particular MP, I don't know if he's in Blackpool, and he kind of had quite a lot of hospitality from like tickets and stuff. And he always has been voting in favour of the gambling companies. Oh. So I think it's not good to cover up any of that, because you need to compare it with their voting records.
At this point now, I think we need a complete clear out. I mean, there may be some MPs who are diligent and working hard on the behalf of their constituents, but we can't, at this point, we really can't assume anything. We just have to clear out the lot. Hose it down and start again. Who's with me? Thanks, Carol. 0345 6060 973. This says, I don't suppose you managed to snap up any of Donald's NFT. No, non-fungible tokens. Non-fungible tokens. Says, I don't suppose you managed to snap up any of Donald's non-fungible token baseball cards, did you? I particularly like the golfing one where he well, I can't read that. But anyway, there's talk about funny. Talk about money making. Wow, he made about $4.5 million in one day, selling himself dressed up as superheroes. And somebody had obviously used Photoshop to slim him down. It's like they sucked the fat out of him with a garden hose. He's never been that thin. $99 each for something that doesn't actually exist. Just an email that says you own this digital image. Something which can be copied perfectly millions of times. You've sold 45,000 of them at $99 each, and I think you will find that makes $4.5 million. $4.5 million that he wrangled out of dinglings. 0345 6060 973. It's just past 11:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Tim Daly.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Don't touch me, or I'll kill you.
This says, why don't we send politicians in to fill the striking workers' places they so despise, says Michaela. This says, I think the Tories are doing a wonderful job in hiding Liz Truss. That's right. We miss you, Liz Truss. No, that's actually not true. But we are curious as to where you've been. Are you clear about it?
I'm genuinely unclear.
She's got no idea. Harleston. Hello, Brian.
Hello, Nick.
Brian.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I called in regarding the sound effects that you use.
Yes.
Following on from the gentleman that called in earlier, who actually uses whinging, moaning and whining to his wife.
I think he just says it.
Yes.
Unless he does actually have it. I mean, you could put it on your phone, I suppose, and you just play it when the wife starts going on and on and on and on.
I now live in fear. I'm going to be at a social gathering where someone says 3 cheers for whoever it is.
Yeah, hip, hip.
Yeah, that's what I live in fear of. Before I catch myself, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Not at work. Make sure you don't do it at work.
I wouldn't mind work. I wouldn't mind. But a friend celebrating a major birthday.
Yeah.
That's my fear.
Right. Well,
that's my fear.
I would keep quiet at all times just in case.
Another one, I'm going to be that caller. James O'Brien used your happy birthday.
When?
Yesterday, I think.
Yesterday? He's still doing it? Oh, come on, James. Yes?
But he gave you full
credit.
Recognition,
right?
Full credit.
Right. Well, that don't make no never mind. When a bigger show uses your bits, then those bits become the property of that bigger show. Think of the little people, James.
The little people. But it ain't like you think. It ain't leprechauns, don't you see? It's little men from Mars or somewhere. And it ain't a toadstool they're under. It's a spaceship.
And I hope that's clear. All right, thanks a lot, Brian. Cheers, mate. Thanks for being an undercover spy. Please, James, pretty please with sugar on top. Stop using my bits. Because people will start asking me why I'm using his material. I'm getting steamrollered here by the gigantic show that is James O'Brien's. You can't use those bits. I'm going to change the name of it and hide it. No. This says, Nick, what is happening with the people in this country? They are becoming irate at small things. I was in a supermarket which was full to the top, yet some guy was getting tetchy because of a trolley touching him while he was ahead of it. Says Unique. Unique. Are you unique, or is that your actual name? And what do you mean by that? He was getting tetchy because a trolley was touching him while he was ahead of it. Yeah, well, I'd get tetchy if a trolley was touching me. Because the trolley would be touching him, round about where a trolley ends, which would be in his, area.
Disgusting.
Touching him in his area. That's enough to get anybody tetchy. Back off with your trolley. This says, and the spirit of Christmas, what did Romans ever do for us? And in the spirit of Christmas, what did Romans ever do for us? Says Charlie in Sutton. I don't know what you're talking about. This says, 5 letters starting with B and ending with T would be blessed. Blessed. B-L-E-S-T. Have you tried blessed? No, he's thinking about it. He's on a break. Leave him alone. Now he's waving at me. Yes?
No, it's not blessed.
Not blessed. You got that wrong. 0345 6060 973. But unique is right, if that is indeed your name. People are getting irate at small things. And I believe that it all started when you-know-what came around. Brexit. It's since Brexit came around, everybody's furious about everything all the bloomin' time. Have you noticed? This says, the sweet smell of success is one of the very good black and white films, not just for the portrayals by Burt Lancaster and Tony Curtis, but also the cameo appearance by the Chico Hamilton Quintet at their peak. You are apparently a bit of a jazz fan, says Joe Collins. A bit? Chico Hamilton Quintet. I am unfamiliar with their work, but I am sure that it is excellent in every regard.
Yowza.
Here is Fife, Andy.
Hello there, Nick. How you doing?
Hello there, Andy. I am doing great, mate.
That's great. It's interesting that you didn't with the B people. I don't mean it that like the Brexit people, right? You're right. They're very angry, very angry indeed, Nick.
Yeah.
I'm actually phoning about this thing around about not saying the Christmas word. Now you've got Winterville and you've got Yule Tidings and everything. Not to say Christmas. I like to say Christmas.
Well, who doesn't say who dances around Christmas? No one I've ever met or spoken to dances around saying Christmas and substitutes it for something else. That's ridiculous.
But there's some councils, I believe, and I'm saying this because I've been told this third hand, so please don't. Well, you can quote me if you want, Nick, but I believe it's some councils. I won't name them in England who have said that they're not going to use the word Christmas and they're going to say like Winterville or just Happy Holidays.
Right.
Because there's people who don't, obviously, they don't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, they don't believe in Santa Claus.
I don't believe in Santa Claus. Oh, it's nice to believe. I believe in Father Christmas, like the song.
Yeah.
I look to the sky with excited eyes.
Rock and roll!
Exactly. I couldn't have sung it better myself.
Absolutely, Nick. Yeah. So, I mean, I think, say Happy Christmas and be glad to see it.
Right. Yeah. Why wouldn't you be? Exactly.
Exactly.
It only comes around once a year. It's the most magical time of the year. Actually, it has been. I've decided to enjoy Christmas this year. Not that I ever decide not to, but this year I thought, I'm really going to get into it, and I'm going to have a happy week. And I've had an excellent week. Thanks for asking.
And when is the A to Z starting? Is that tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Yeah, with the letter A. We'll start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start.
Absolutely. And then you'll go right up to Z, and it'll be all through the nights, isn't it? You do every night, I think, from Christmas Eve, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
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 Yes, absolutely.
Well, that's great, Nick, and that'll be really good. Look forward to that, and your lines are really, really busy then, though you can't always get through.
No, I know.
I will attempt to.
Yeah, well, then I wish you the best of luck. I appreciate the effort. Thanks a lot, Andy. 0345 6060 973. This says, hi, Nick. I agree that Larry the Cat was our best Prime Minister this year, with reservations as he was not democratically elected. I wish you and all who tune in a most equilibrium-enhancing winterval, says Alexandra. Well, I appreciate that, Alexandra.
Thank you.
This says, Brexit has made our family want to be ex-Brits. When Scotland leaves, we shall be moving from Sheffield and over the border. Leave this nation of self-harmers to the Tory cabal they love so much, says Johnny. Word of warning, though, Johnny, it's always going to be raining. If you go to Glasgow, it'll always be raining. If you go to Edinburgh, it'll always be cold. Select 0345 6060 973. Yeah, the only problem with Scotland is that it's not further south as far as latitudes, or is it longitude? Latitudes. Is it latitudes or longitudes?
8 across.
8 across is the right answer. Croydon, Adil.
Nick, how are we?
Very well, thanks.
Good. I just want to say I love your show. It's Christmas time. I just wanted to give my gratitude. You're an amazing radio presenter. Just talking on the subject.
Thanks, Adil.
You're most welcome. Just talking on the subject of festive greetings.
Yes.
I work in a residential development, and there's all walks of life. And I always say Merry Christmas, regardless if people may take offence or not be interested in the holiday. It's a time where you see everyone happy, and I think even if you want to replace the word, one can say festive greetings. But why not say Merry Christmas?
Yeah,
it's a merry time.
It can be. It can be the most miserable time of the year, like the song says. No, it doesn't.
Well, it can be difficult for some, but
Yeah.
Christmas is a time to rejoice, and I think
Why
you can
not?
always look at
Yeah, exactly. Why not say Happy Christmas? Because it's Christmas already. Of course it is.
We are in a Christian country, after all. We should abide by the
I'm not
the
sure.
law of the
I'm
land.
not sure that's true, and it's not the law of the land to say Happy Christmas. I'm not sure we're a Christian country anymore. I think that we actually have no religion. If we were honest with ourselves, I think most of the people that say that they're Christian just say it as a default answer to a question that they don't ordinarily come across. What religion are you? Christian. Have you ever been to church? Like ever? No. Do you ever pray? Do you actually believe in God? No. Well, you're not really Christian then, are you? We ain't got no religion. But thanks, Adil. But it doesn't stop you from saying Happy Christmas, does it? But as far as I'm aware, the Christian faith co-opted this time of year and decided to make it their own. It previously was a bunch of people in caves. That's probably not right. Not right. Well, maybe. Caves, mud huts, whatever it was that people used to live in before the invention of the mobile phone. It used to be a pagan festival. So, happy pagan time or whatever it is. I don't know. But anyway, there's absolutely nobody. Maybe organisations might feel that it is in their interest not to cause offence to anybody at any time. And that's understandable. But as individuals, who has decided to not say Happy Christmas? No one. There is no war against Christmas. That is only in right-wingers' own minds, and it's something they come up with every blooming year. Hey, stop whining.
Stop whining.
0345 6060 973. This says, this Christmas I'm throwing caution to the wind, pushing the boat out and splashing out by turning on my central heating, says Paul. Central heating?
Oh, no.
It's not cold enough for central heating right now. I mean, it was last week, blooming freezing last week. But this week it's going to be so mild. I stepped out today. I couldn't quite believe it. 12 degrees it's going to be tomorrow. This is in central London. 12 degrees tomorrow. 12 on Sunday, and the low is going to be 9. It's only going to go down to 9. It's December. It's about as peak winter as you can get. And for the next couple of weeks, the high is going to be above 10 degrees every day. 13 on New Year's Eve. Wow. And it's all thanks to global warming.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
LBC with Nick Abbott.
Can I ask you how you think the Sunak campaign is...
No, sorry. That was the wrong one. There was a moment's panic. I hadn't selected one ahead of time, so I just stabbed that one at random, and it was, well, all right, I'll play it. This is my favourite political interview of the year. It's one of our own interviewing David Davis, at what was an event that became louder and louder.
Can I ask you how you think the Sunak campaign is going? He was behind at the start. He now seems to be even further behind. Your team, his campaign, they're struggling to turn this around. Why is that?
Well, we're still 6 weeks out yet, and it depends who you're talking to. If you talk to the ordinary members of the public, the majority of them think that Rishi will make a better Prime Minister. I think he'll make a fantastic Prime Minister, a really good one. And it's up to us to get that across. It's what we don't want to see is this turning into a sort of bidding contest, who can offer the lowest taxes and so on with that. So what we want to do is to have a contest of virtue. I think when it comes down to that, Rishi will win. It'll just
He says it best when we can't understand a word he's saying. Appreciate it, David Davis.
Thank you.
Very good work. This says, Nick, I believe the army should be in the hospitals to demonstrate how, when efficiency is implemented, achievements show through. This would demonstrate to the Deadwood hierarchy how ineffectual they are for the salary they are paid, says Amelia in Leamington Spa. What? Nick, I believe the army should be in the hospitals to demonstrate how, when efficiency is implemented, achievements show through. This would demonstrate to the Deadwood hierarchy how ineffectual they are for the salary they are paid. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's something about sending the army into hospitals. I'm not sure that's a very good idea. Any more than it's a good idea to have the army be border patrol persons and just wave anybody through that's got a passport. And people are saying, oh, the queues, it's just marvellous without all those border patrol people. They're blooming, they insist on checking who you are. And the same people who are saying that are the ones who are furiously adamant about taking control of our borders. The exact same people who are saying, well, these blooming strikers, want to fire the lot of them and put the army in there. Because, look, there's no queues when the army are involved. The same people are the ones who want us to take control of our borders. Morons. We're surrounded by morons. Let's have Aisling in Bromley. Aisling.
Hi, Nick.
Aisling.
Hiya. I'm not actually in Bromley at the moment. I'm in Ireland.
Ah, can you call us when you get to Bromley?
I'm just calling in to tell you, well, one thing is quite sad, and the other thing is that I got my heated blanket.
Okay. Well, what's the sad part?
Yeah. The sad part is that our dog died yesterday.
Oh, what was the dog's name?
Yeah. Molly.
Molly. That's a good name for a dog.
Yeah, she got hit by a car. I got here on Wednesday, and then on Thursday it happened. And I was going to ask if any listeners might have had advice on. I want to get my parents to know the dog because I don't like the idea of them. I know it's a bit soon, but I don't like the idea of them without a dog at all because she really kind of was their kind of little light and joy because we've all kind of moved out and stuff. And I was just going to ask if anyone had any advice on why certain breeds are priced so differently.
Priced so differently? Well, how much is a dog? How much is that doggy in the window? The one with the waggly tail. How much is a dog?
Well, I mean, so we want to get them a Cavachon.
What's that?
And a Cavachon is a cross. She's a King Charles and a Bichon. That's what Molly was.
A Dijon. Dijon.
A Bichon. Bichon Frise.
Oh, right.
You know the Bichon, the little white ones.
It sounds like parts of a salad. A Bichon Frise.
Yeah, it does actually a little bit. But there's quite a few Cavachons for sale, but they range from the average is 400, but then there's some that start
400?
Yeah.
For a dog?
Yeah, euro. Yeah. That's not. Some people pay a lot for. I don't even know what. I think poodles are quite expensive.
Those things that look like teddy bears, they must cost an absolute fortune. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. A puppy. I don't even know what they're called, but it looks like a bit of a poodle and a bit of something else. It does look like a teddy bear that you'd buy, maybe, that you would buy in a toy shop. So cute, but they're even quite cute when they grow up, because that's the thing with puppies, is maximum cuteness when they're young, but less so when they get old. But that thing, it's a what now? It's a cockapoo. Is that it?
I think that's a cockapoo,
Right.
yeah. There's a few different mixes. There's cockapoos, cavapoos,
Yeah.
but a lot of them are crossed with poodles because it gives them that kind of fluffy, curly kind of look.
Right,
But
exactly.
They have
yeah.
different colours
Looks
and
like a teddy
different
bear.
sizes.
Yeah. It looks like the product of science. It doesn't look like nature could ever come up with anything that appeals to the human eye quite that much. It looks like sort of cross-fertilization from one to another. It looks like witchcraft, actually.
They are very cute. They are. There's a lot of cockapoos around London actually. I always see them in the parks. Yeah. But
Get a
yeah,
proper
I don't
dog.
know.
Get a proper dog, though, Aisling. You must get a proper dog, not a yappy dog. You're not going to buy them a yappy dog, are you?
No, I don't think that would drive them crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
No. We live out in the countryside, and
All right.
I mean, but we've still generally always had. We haven't had loads of dogs. We've generally had like dogs for quite a long period.
Well, how about a
but they've
Jack
always
Russell? Because that's a small dog, but it's also a proper dog, and it loves rats. Loves them.
We had 2 Jack Russells at one point. We got them because their seller was selling them, wanted to sell siblings if they could.
Yeah.
But we actually ended up taking them back because they were puppies, as in they were boys. No, we did.
You can actually return a dog? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because they were boys, and we've always kind of had bitches, girls. We've always had girls, and
but didn't you check that before you bought it? I mean,
yeah, no, we did, but we said we'd try boys, and
Right.
it didn't work out very well.
Okay.
But they were quite yappy though. Jack Russells, the ones that we got, they were quite. They really never stopped barking.
Well, you definitely want to return those.
Yeah, definully.
Get them something
but
that get something that more fits your lifestyle.
Yeah, no,
you
I
know.
think we're going to go with the Cavachon or Maltachon.
Well,
but
I
it's
have
just
absolutely
tricky.
no idea what either of those are, but it
cute
sounds like
puppies.
a nice idea to get them a dog straight away, and then they can pour their love and affection right into it.
That's what I think that too. I don't think it's too soon.
All right, thanks a lot, Aisling, and I wish you all the best. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. This says, you're wondering who doesn't say the C word, as in Christmas. Well, I don't. I say season's greetings, says Darryl in Hove, all right, from the top. You're wondering who doesn't say the C word? Well, I don't. I say season's greetings instead, as a teetotal vegan atheist. As a teetotal vegan atheist, the festival doesn't really interest me that much, says Darryl in Hove. This says, hi, Nick, have you already had your Christmas dinner yet? If so, how was it? I'll tell you how it was. It was bloomin' fantastic. Let me describe the ways. There was turkey and stuffing and sprouts and gravy and cranberry sauce and, best of all, roast potatoes. I've said this before, but when a potato is cooked in a particular way, it releases drugs. I'm sure it does. It doesn't say it on the packet, but I am certain that when you bake a potato in order to make chips or roast potatoes, it does release some sort of drug in the flesh of the potato that makes you go a bit, it makes you hanker after another, and then another one, and then another one after that. You just can't help yourself, right? Not the same with mashed potatoes. You don't ever steal mashed potatoes off somebody else's plate, but you would a chip, wouldn't you? That's my case proven. And since I had turkey and sprouts and gravy and cranberry sauce and roast potatoes for my Christmas dinner, which I did on Tuesday, I had turkey for lunch and dinner on Wednesday, and turkey for lunch and dinner on Thursday, and I had turkey for lunch and dinner today. And guess what I'm having tomorrow? That's right. Poor little Chuck.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
When the newsreader said, and the King will be presenting a broadcast this Christmas, I instinctively thought, without actually considering my response, I thought, Elvis? Elvis? No! The King! Not Elvis. That's going to take some getting used to. Not quite used to it yet. Going to be, it's a Christmas message. That was uncanny. It was like he just stepped into the room, yes?
No.
0345 6060 973. Stuart in Twickenham says, will you be bringing in the big guns to man the phone lines for the A to Z as per last year? I may finally pop my phone in cherry and try to give you a call if I can think of an item before somebody beats me to it. And then in brackets from my glamorous assistant next door, is this texter suggesting that the big guns are not on tonight? I am most offended, he says. Suggesting? Well...
Yes.
Yes. This says, the winter solstice was used by Christians to create Christmas pre-mobile phones. Oh, wait, no, I've read that totally wrong. The winter solstice was used by Christians to create Christmas pre-mobile phones. That makes sense. The Midwinter Festival is a myth that is at least 10 years old. A local council tried to drum up trade in the period between Christmas and New Year. When will they ever learn, says Michaela in Hebden Bridge. The Midwinter Festival is a myth that is at least 10 years old. What are you talking about? And this says, I'm having my... in relation to getting the army into cover for nurses in hospitals, Paul says, I'm having my appendix shot out next week. Well, that's good to know, Paul. You managed to get to the front of the list. Bodmin. Hello, Malcolm.
Hello, Nick. How are you, sir?
Great, mate.
Irony. Bitter irony.
Irony.
A couple of things, Nick. In the week of the birthday or the birth of Jesus, we've got, and it's not much of a happy home, we've got a Home Secretary, former Home Secretary, who issues a Christmas card with Rwanda
Rwanda as on a bauble, yeah.
On the baubles.
Yeah.
And then we've got the President's Home Secretary, who wants to house immigrants who come across on boats and risk their lives on those boats, sad as it is. She wants to house them on boats.
Right.
In their hundreds, if not thousands, possibly in the English Channel. That's pretty ironic, I think, Nick.
Yeah, she wants to check.
And then
Go on.
And then on a happier note...
Oh, a happier note?
The government could, it could only be happier.
Yeah, happy note. Go on.
The government could bring some Christmas cheer, and they could do it by helping out the unions and their cause and workers with their causes.
Yeah.
By introducing a money spinning scheme whereby all workers are paid the amount of money that a lowly skilled and paid foreign worker who comes to the country must be able to earn to be able to come here. So you can't come here if you're not from here unless you earn, is it between 25 and 35,000?
Something like that.
So we want you to come here and we want you to earn really good wages.
Yeah.
But you Brits, you've got to work for a pittance.
Yes.
So I suggest that the government says that employers must pay all employees at least the minimum wage that the foreigner must be paid to come here.
Well, that's a good idea, but how is the Chief Executive Officer going to award himself all of the money that has been created by the workers in his or her company?
That's a good point. That could be...
you didn't think about that, did you?
In the plan, yeah.
Right.
And then you've got the differentials, Nick. You've got to keep it the differentials. So,
differentials?
What's his face? Sunak will be faced with the nightmare. If he gives nurses 10, 11%, or a figure in that range, then the people above nurses, they're going to have the differential maintained. So those pesky
So they're going to have a pay rise too.
Right,
I get it. They're going to have a rise too. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So happy Christmas, Nick.
Oh, okay.
looking forward to the A to Z, my friend.
Me too. I can't wait. My favourite shows of the year. All right, thanks a lot, Malcolm. Good work. 0345 6060 973. And they keep going on and on and on about, we can't give nurses a pay rise, or we can't give train workers a pay rise, or border force, or any of these people, because we have to keep inflation down. How's that going?
Fabulous.
It's through the roof. Every time you go to the checkout in the supermarket, you say, how much? They haven't had a pay rise yet. In fact, they've had a pay cut over the past 12 years of the regime's rule. And we've still got inflation. So the one does not cause the other. Why should the poorest in society have to make up for the misdeeds of the richest? What's that about? And why do the poorest in society keep voting for the party that's doing it to them? That blows my mind. And they say that we can't afford it. Oh, well, this and that, and we can't afford this and we can't afford that. We can afford giving bankers a tax cut. We can afford to give MPs a pay rise. Sharon Graham is the General Secretary of Unite. She wrote in The Guardian. It was quite a long piece. Worth reading. I'll précis it for you. There are various ways a government can find money. One such way would be real, not artificial, windfall taxes on energy profits. Leaked Treasury estimates show energy companies make excess profits of £170 billion in the next couple of years. £170 billion. The current energy taxes, with generous get-outs, don't even touch the sides. Why can't we demand 50 billion more of that windfall? We could pay off the £40 billion so-called black hole, offer a decent pay settlement for the NHS, and still have lots of cash left over. We could throw a party. She says, what about a contribution from the banks? The bankers. No! Yet the Chancellor has... The UK's biggest four banks are on target for profits of £33 billion. Profits. £33 billion. 4 banks, 1 year. Yet the Chancellor has slashed its tax surcharge on the sector from 8% to 3%. Yet another positive choice could be to address ballooning wealth inequality. As the former boss of Greggs points out, there are 177 billionaires in the UK now. There were 29 when the Tories took over in 2010. Between them, they own £653 billion. The Tax Justice Network has estimated that equalising capital gains tax with income tax could raise £14 billion a year. That's enough to give every public sector worker an inflation-beating pay rise. And why don't we even consider going further with a progressive taxation on income? That's a good point. The reason that capital gains tax is levied at such a low rate is because that's how the rich get richer. You don't become rich with your wages. You become rich due to the appreciation in value of your assets. And when you sell them, you're not taxed anything like as much as you would have been if you had earned that money in wages. That's because the little people make wages. The rich have assets. And it's the rich that write the tax rules. They're getting away with absolute bloomin' murder. This country is richer than it was in 2010. All of the money has gone to, you tell me. There used to be 29 billionaires in 2010. There's 177 billionaires now in this country. All of the money's gone somewhere. It's trickle up economics.
Absolutely.
Trickle up economics. Nothing ever trickles down. Let's have Salford. Hello, Gaz.
Hi, Nick.
Gaz.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Oh, great. I enjoy your show. I listen regular.
Thanks.
I'm looking forward to the A to Z.
Yes, me too.
It's going to be great. Hopefully it's going to be a smash-up. Just a few points, Nick. The reason I'm ringing is what you said about half an hour ago. You mentioned, what if this current administration does decide not to have a general election? That kind of stuck in my throat, because if they don't, what are we going to do? Because everything seems to be broken by them.
Yes.
And it all seems all one way, which it has been for the past 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
If they, if they say, well, we can't have an election because of
national security, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. What do we do then? What do we do
well,
then?
as British people, we could probably tut. That's about it.
And stamp our feet.
Yeah.
Because it's getting to the point. I mean, the ambulance strike. You take the ambulance strikes, for instance. I mean, I listened to a lady there. She earns £2,000 a month. Her rent is £1,500.
Blimey.
Oh, and it's obviously a landlord that's taking the mick out of her at that place. But she's left with £100 a week to live on.
Well, I hope that she's living in a nice place.
I would have thought so.
Probably unlikely, because the Conservatives voted against landlords being forced to make the property that they rent habitable for human beings.
Human beings,
they
exactly,
actually voted against that.
It. I know, yeah, they work for you. I know. At the website, they work for you, which is a very good website.
It is, yeah.
It is, yeah. It's very informative. Yeah.
Coincidentally, an enormous number of Tory MPs are landlords. That's just a coincidence.
Yeah, it just seems as though since 2012, when Gordon Brown got left off, it's just been one thing after another, and it's been a smash and grab.
I keep saying it. This is not a government; it's a smash and grab raid.
That's exactly what it has been.
When Gordon Brown left the scene, things got considerably worse. All right, thanks for spotting the bad news there, Gaz. Appreciate it. 0345 6060 973. Cavapoo is the very cute one. Cavalier King Charles Spaniel times a poodle, says Elaine. Times?
Disgusting.
Is that what we're calling it now? This says, Yorkshire pudding with Christmas dinner, Nick. Yes or no? Says David. Well, I didn't have it, but absolutely, yes. Although it's a bit filling, is a Yorkshire pudding. And it has to be perfect, and they very rarely are. Because you can't have a Yorkshire pudding that's not perfect. I mean, other things don't have to be absolutely spot on, and they're still edible. But Yorkshire pudding has to be just so. But it is a bit like another section of your plate with potatoes on it. Do you know what I mean? It's the same food. Would you like chips with your roasts? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC, leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
A big sack of monkey nuts.
A big sack of monkey nuts would be my vote for the best Prime Minister of the year. If only they had given that as an option, a big sack of monkey nuts would have been the most competent Prime Minister of the year, would have topped that vote, I'm sure of it. This says, I'm a teetotal vegetarian atheist, and I say Happy Christmas. I wonder if it's something in the milk, says Callie. I went to a place the other day, and it was a place of business, and not that kind of business. And they said, would you like a coffee? And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, yes, please. And they said, would you like oat milk or rice milk? And I said, have you got any milk? I said, oh, no, we don't have that here. Oat milk or rice milk?
Disgusting.
Not for me, thank you. Let's have a call in Tyne and Weir. Hello, Brian.
Hi, Nick. My mother, she makes great Yorkshire pudding. She's from Pontefract.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, what I was going to ask you about was, in China, they've got the most ridiculous restrictions in the world when it comes to COVID, yet there are thousands of people in China are dying every week. And I just wondered, who's manning the hospitals in this country when the nurses are on strike with regards to the COVID wards, and how many people, do you have any stats on how many people have died of COVID this week or last week? Or because I don't hear anything about it anymore now, do I? I just wondered if there are people still dying from the thing.
Right. I'm not sure, Brian, is the answer to that. We don't hear much about it because, well, two reasons. It's not so serious anymore. It seems to have, this is what a medical professional told me, it seems to have morphed into something much less dangerous. And we don't hear about it anymore because we heard about nothing else for 2 years and nobody wants to talk about it anymore. We want to pretend like it's behind us. We've gone through that. It's not a thing anymore. I know we are pretending that it's not a thing anymore. It's still there, but it's not as serious as it was, and people just can't stand it anymore. If that answers your question,
certain
Brian.
Shops, Nick, certain shops I've been, I won't mention the name of the shops, but they all wear masks now. The people, the staff and the tillers are wearing masks.
Really?
Yeah. Can I mention the shop or not?
No. But thanks for asking. Appreciate you asking.
Thank you.
I find that surprising. This says 9 hours ago. What's this?
Oh, yes, yeah. It's just...
You want me to read it as you type it, rather than you say it? He's very into typing. Yes. And then he's rubbed it out. Go on. What is it that you're trying to tell me?
Oh, it's just the latest figures on COVID.
Oh, this is it. Oh, okay. Latest news. The number of people with coronavirus in the UK continues to rise. The latest weekly figures from the Office for National Statistics suggest COVID infections increased in England and Scotland while the trend was uncertain in Wales and Northern Ireland. More than 1.4 million people in the UK, about 1 in 45, were affected in the week ending the 9th of December. Right. If you are feeling unwell, don't socialise during the festive season. And when I say unwell, I don't mean because of a surfeit of booze. Not that kind of unwell. East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Morning, Nick. Yeah. This being your last unusual show of the year, just wanted to say another brilliant year's broadcasting. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely great. Couple of bits annoyed me this week. This bonfire of EU regulations?
Yeah.
One of them is about water quality, and we were signed up to having our rivers in good nick by 2027.
Correct.
And the government have now pushed that back to 2063.
What? 2063, yeah.
63. What? That is progress, is it not? I mean...
We're free to bathe in hot sewage.
It's another Brexit bonus for us. And,
sovereignty.
The one,
the smell of it.
The other one, which you might disagree with me on, Charlie announced this week that his coronation is not going to be toned down. It's going to be full fat.
I know, yes. It's going to cost £100 million, but that's okay because we're paying for it.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that tin-eared, given what the rest of the country is going through on the one thing? And he said he wanted to project an image of Britain around the world. Well, what it projects to me, I mean, we look at Afghanistan and Saudi and say, these are medieval countries, and we're going to project an image of medieval celebrations around the world. Does that really make us look like a forward-thinking country when people are bowing and scraping for those with the big hats on.
Yeah, no, it doesn't, no. But, I mean, you're going to tell me next that the people in the royal family aren't in touch with the common person, that they're living in a bubble. Of course they blooming well are.
Well, of course they are. I mean, I just think it's very tin-eared about spending that. I'm not cutting down on. I'm not going to economise on my coronation.
Yeah, I'm not going to cut down on the amount of your money I spend.
And somebody said, "Oh, well, he's donated some freezers to food banks." He's a pretty decent bloke. But the point in question is, we shouldn't need food banks, and we shouldn't be relying on charity. And the government have put out a statement this week that the over 55s who are no longer economically active, they're wanting them to go and do voluntary work.
Oh, I definitely thought you were going to say being put down.
I'm not ready for that.
Well, I bet it has occurred to them. The moment somebody becomes economically inactive, that's it. Call in the army.
But they told us, you must have got it as well, they told us from teenagers, save up, get a pension, get bricks and mortar, and prepare for old age. And then when you've got saved up and you can retire early, well, then they're telling you, no, don't do that.
That's right.
Disastrous.
Yeah. Exactly right, yes. Everything they've told you from birth has been untrue. Liar! Exactly. All right, thanks a lot, Mike. Yeah, work hard and you will reach the promised land. No, you won't. You're going to have to get up out of your sick bed and go back to work, layabout. He's right about that rivers thing. Targets to clean up the majority of England's rivers, lakes and coastal waters suffering a cocktail of agricultural and sewage pollution have been pushed back from 2027 to 2063. It's a cocktail of agricultural and sewage pollution.
Booze.
Does it have a twist of lime? There is not one single English waterway, river, lake, estuary or coastal waters that is in good ecological and chemical health at this moment. None. At all. The Environment Agency said on Thursday that the target for all 3,651 water bodies was to achieve good chemical and ecological status, by which they mean a state as close to their natural state as possible. But instead of instead of abiding by EU rules to make that happen by 2027, which fact fans is just 5 years away, now we have used the freedom of Brexit to make that 2063. By 2063, our waterways will be clean, not 2027. Until Brexit, the UK government was signed up to the Water Framework Directive, which required countries to make sure all of their waters achieved good chemical and ecological status by 2027 at the latest. A benefit of Brexit is that we don't have to clean up our water and it can stay filthy for decades to come because that's sovereignty. We're free to bathe in sewage and chemicals. And it's all thanks to Brexit.
Thank you.
So in the EU, the countries are signed up to making sure all their waters achieve good chemical and ecological status by 2027 at the latest. We have used our Brexit freedoms to reduce the target to not all, but only 75% of waterways. And we've pushed it back from 2027 to 2063. By 2027, when, remember, 100% of our waters were supposed to be clean, we're on track to have only 4% clean. And that is deregulation in a nutshell. All of those red tape regulations that the Tories keep banging on about getting rid of are there for our protection. The Tories' trick is to paint them as some sort of restriction on our freedoms. And if you believe that, I have a plot of land in Florida I'd like to sell you. And to remind you, in England, no river, no lake, no coastal water, no estuary is judged to be in a good state of health at present. If you go to the sea today, you're in for a big surprise.
Disgusting.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 12:30.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. This says, "Hi Nick, speaking of Elvis, my dad wants to do his impersonation for you for 50 pence. Are you interested?" says Tom in Sevenoaks. Well, let me think about that for a while. No. This says, "I wonder what Christmas is like at Jacob Rees-Mogg's house. I can imagine it's something from A Christmas Carol. I wonder how big his turkey is and if he cooks Christmas dinner," says AC. I would imagine that over at Jacob Rees-Mogg's place, he just puts a sheet over himself and sits in the corner collecting dust until all of that happiness goes away. Any thoughts, Smug?
My view.
It's a yes. It's a yes from him. Carnforth. Hey up, Annie.
Hey up, Nick. How you doing?
I am great, mate.
Good. Yeah, I just wanted to ring up and respond to Ashling's call, actually. And yeah, really sorry to hear about your mum and dad's dog, Aisling.
Oh, yeah.
That's awful. We've had several cats run over the years because you can't really keep cats in or anything. And,
no. Well, you can, but...
Well, you can, but I don't like doing it, really. But anyway, I was just going to kind of respectfully sort of suggest that maybe Aisling or anybody else who's thinking about buying a dog...
I know what you're going to say.
...should maybe think about...
a rescue dog.
A rescue dog.
Bingo.
Yeah, because at the moment, rescue shelters, they are absolutely bursting.
Yeah.
So many people have had to give their dogs and cats up because of the cost of living crisis.
Well, that, and also they bought them during COVID for a bit of an amusement, and then realised that it's an actual real-life living thing.
Yes, yeah, particularly with dogs, I think. But with cats, Cats Protection have had a 50% increase this year in cats being bought.
And I know this is going to sound racist, but you want to buy yourself a black cat because people don't want them. Do you know why?
Yes.
I think we've probably had this conversation before, haven't
We
we?
have, yes.
Yeah. People don't want a black cat because it doesn't show up in selfies.
What?
That's actually true. It just looks like a shadow. So when they're desperate to get likes from people they don't know on the World Wide Web, they want a cat that can actually show up in a picture, not one that just looks like a shadow. So people don't want black cats. Oh, it's truth.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I think there's always, for a while, there's been a bit of a thing about black cats. I'm not quite sure why.
Well, are they lucky or are they unlucky? I don't know.
They're supposed to be lucky. If they cross your path, it's meant to be lucky, isn't
But I
it?
thought that but you hear people say that it's supposed to be unlucky. So which is it? Come on, people, make your mind up.
No, it's definitely lucky. But on the other hand, I think people still think there's, this association with witchcraft and all this nonsense. But I must say, our cats, well, they have got some white on them, but they're sort of like tuxedo cats, really. They've got white bibs and socks.
Oh,
but
so
they look
cute.
They are cute and they look fabulous in any sort of photos.
Right.
They're absolute pin-ups.
Yeah.
And, there's so many gorgeous cats and dogs, including, if you want them, designer ones, because even designer ones get made homeless, especially at the moment. So, yeah, people, please, and especially people, don't buy kittens online. There's been big articles in Cats Protection magazine about this because what's happening is they're being taken away from their mothers too soon and sold online, and then they're not well enough to be, rehomed, and so they're getting sick and sometimes dying, and it's very upsetting, obviously, for the people who buy them, and terrible for the cat.
It must be awful being packaged up and sent through the post.
Well, however they get them. I think, they tend to meet people in, I don't know, motorway service stations and that kind of thing. And
well, what's dodgy about that?
Exactly. So, yeah, they're just saying, please don't buy kittens online. Go
to a shelter and pick up an animal that is desperate for a bit of LUV love.
Yes.
Good idea.
Definitely.
I think that's your
it's medicine time, yeah.
Your alarm. Okay, I'll leave you to it. Thanks a lot, Annie. That's a good idea. There's a little puppy dog or pussycat that has got your name all over it. They'll love you forever. I mean, the bad news is if you don't take it and nobody else does either after a certain period of time, bad news. So just step in there and, do some good. Why not? You never know, you might like it. 0345 6060 973. Crayford, Terry.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Terry.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I just want to take issue with you.
Uh-oh.
You were dissing mashed potato. Now,
yes.
I make my mashed potato with loads of butter, loads of cream.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a spoonful of mustard powder in it.
Powder?
Yeah, the famous tin of yellow mustard powder.
That sits in the back of your cupboard and then you realise it's like 15 years out of date.
No, mine gets used quite regularly.
Oh, do you? Why not mustard, though? Why powder?
Because it just tastes better. I've tried both, and I'm telling you, the mustard powder always tastes better.
Well, I tell you what, Terry, you had me at butter.
Hang on, I haven't finished yet.
There's more.
Once it's all creamed, and it has to be creamed up, no lumps.
Yeah.
You get a Pyrex dish or a dish. You smother the whole dish in butter.
Mm-hmm.
You put the potato in it, and then you put dabs of butter on the top.
Oh,
you
yes.
put it in the oven.
Yes.
And when it comes out, it's beautiful.
When it comes out, when you put it in the oven, you want to book your ambulance at that point because all of that cream and butter is going to make you, a hospital resident.
But it's so crispy and it gets crisp all the way around the sides and on the top. It's gorgeous.
That does sound fantastic. So what time's dinner?
I'll come round on Boxing Day.
I'll bring it
with your Boxing Day dinner.
Righto, I'll provide the drink. Booze. That's a deal. Thanks a lot, Terry. What's the recipe today? Mashed potato. I could eat a second dinner right now. Who's with me? This says, regarding the mild weather, we must remember that Wednesday just gone was the shortest day. So that's it. Summer is on the way back. We will see sunny evenings any day soon. That's a good point. Yeah, we just had the shortest day. It charges around so quickly because you think, same with summer, because 6 months ago, we were getting a little bit depressed that the evenings were going to start drawing in. And it seems like already, because it's the end of June, isn't it, that it's right, that's it, it's over. But yeah, it's going to start, the evenings are going to start getting lighter from now on. And we ain't going to notice it. Not for a good long while. Not for months and months and months. We ain't going to notice it. Never mind, we're going to be plunged into darkness and damp from, it'll seem like now until the end of time. Damn it! Oh, well. 0345. Oh, wait, there's an adjunct. It says, P.S. I agree with you on a very important issue. Bill Nelson is a grossly underrated guitarist. One of the best. He certainly is.
Rock and roll!
And he says, Futurama is my first personal fave of Bebop Deluxe. Bebop Deluxe, Bill Nelson. I tell you what, treat yourself and listen to Adventures in a Yorkshire Landscape. Not the studio version, the live version. Live in the Air Age is the album. You can look it up on an internet near you. Adventures in a Yorkshire Landscape, the live version by Bebop Deluxe. And you can thank me later. No, wait. I've changed my mind. You can thank me now.
Thank you.
Let's have Malvern. Judy.
Oh, sorry, I almost went to sleep there. I do apologise.
Judy, wake up.
I'm so sorry. It's been a very long night, really. We've had our carol singing in the brass band in the village.
Well, nobody wants to hear carol singing.
What? And we end up at the pub. It's really okay.
Oh, the pub. Booze. That sounds great.
It is, actually. And
so did you make any money?
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't know the full total, but it's all going to local charities. So, we sing and then we go to the pub and we get a word that I can't say on LBC.
You spend all of that money that people have just given you.
No, we don't. Stop it.
No. Yes.
Darling, look, I consider you to be an incredibly erudite, incredibly knowledgeable person, but I just have to take issue with China. China. Yeah, you do it better than I do.
China.
Yes, thank you.
You have to take issue with me and China. What have I said about China?
Yeah, but you're so good at it. Look, China, of course, China is seriously got a problem because, which I'm sure you know, it's raining outside. I only just come back from the pub and I'm sitting in the car and it's seriously raining.
How far do you have to go from your car to your front door?
Yeah, well, it's 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Can't you drive nearer to where you live?
Actually, it's 5 minutes and I'll run.
Can't you park where you live? You're 5 minutes away.
Look, if you live in a village, I'll tell you something. I'm convinced that I'm sure farmers in the olden days literally used to toss coins and play cards and say, oh, I'll tell you what, you can have that field over there and I'll tell you what, I'll have that dry.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing sensible. My garden in front of me doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the next door neighbour.
What?
Just don't go there. Yeah, I know. Can you hear it? I mean, it's lashing with rain. Anyway, look, I'll get to the point.
Lashing? No, I can't, but I'll take your word for it.
Yes, hit me, but don't mark me. But anyway, right, getting to the point.
What?
I didn't say that, but I think it's okay. I think it'll get past yeah.
Okay, then. Carry on.
I think we're all right. Look, the Chinese they've just succumbed because there was a lot of brouhaha and problems, and people were saying "ya boo," and saying we're not prepared to be shut in anymore.
Right.
And we, because of COVID, and so they all. Finally, the regime said, "Okay." Instead of doing it steadily, they said, "Okay, everybody can go out, and it's fine."
Yeah.
And now, of course, because unfortunately their vaccine
have they actually said that? Because they got a zero COVID policy. I wasn't aware that they did. Oh, okay.
Yes. Come on. This is why I can't believe it, because you're normally just, you get with a zeitgeist, No, they said it about 5 days ago and they lifted the restrictions.
I'm not sure that's true. I don't think that's true.
No, well, look, get your guy, woman, whatever, to check it. They lifted it about 5 days ago or 10 days ago, but it's not much longer than that.
Right.
So they lifted all restrictions.
Not all.
And what has happened? Yes, they have.
And
what has happened is,
Go on.
Quelle surprise.
Yes.
Quelle surprise. Not only have they've not accepted any Western drugs, of course, they had to have their own,
right.
Which surprisingly doesn't work that well. Not being anti-China here, it's just that it wasn't that good. Most people in China, because there are millions, haven't actually had the vaccine at all. So now we have thousands and thousands of people in hospital who are sadly dying because the restrictions are lifted, but there was no in between. So if you look it up, and I'm being really kind here. I mean, I know that you know most things because I listen to you every week. God knows it's a trial, but
somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. But really, no. Honestly, no. They stopped the restrictions because they started having people being anti the Chinese regime, which they can't possibly accept.
No.
And no, it's gone out of control now. So.
Well,
I can't think of the word except it's not actually something I could say on LBC.
No. Okay. Well, thanks for not saying it. I appreciate the self-control, Judy. Cheers, my dear. Here's the story. Since successfully containing the first Wuhan outbreak in April 2020, China has had more than 2.5 years to prepare for the end of its zero-COVID policy, which placed strict restrictions on a public increasingly tired of life under lockdowns. But Beijing hasn't used that time wisely. The COVID-19 wave now surging across the country is hitting a deeply unprepared healthcare system. Streets once empty because of lockdowns are now empty because people are only venturing out to get medicine. Other countries, such as Australia, New Zealand and South Korea, abandoned strict containment policies but were able to contain hospitalisations and deaths because they had used the time they bought for themselves to vaccinate their citizens and educate their publics and build up healthcare supply chains. These countries escaped the extremely high infection rates of the first year of the pandemic in countries such as this one right here. For the catastrophic handling of all of that, we're still paying for and probably be paying for the rest of our lives. Thanks a lot, Bodge.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
But anyway, so I want to talk about that. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. By the way, this show does get stuck up the internet as a podcast. Now, the idea is we take the news and the ads out. It takes less time to listen to. You'll use less electricity. And with the money that you've saved, you'll be able to send a Christmas card back to Priti Patel and ask her never to send you a card again. It's a public service provided for you by LBC. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Coming up at 1 on LBC, Ali Mirage.
It's Christmas Eve and rail staff are going to walk out from 6 p.m. this evening. And border staff are also on strike. If you've just flown in for Christmas, welcome to Broken Britain.
Ali Mirage on LBC. LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Somerset. Hello, John.
Oh my God! Hello.
Yes, John.
I didn't speak to the producer at all.
What?
So normally I speak to somebody and I say what I'm going to talk about.
You haven't done that yet?
No.
Oh my God! I'm going to put you back on hold. He's there.
Don't.
And, well, this is like Russian roulette on the phones now. Oh, all right then.
I was going to ask you about Kenny Everett.
Yes.
I think he would have been a fan.
He would have been a fan of me.
Well,
I seriously doubt that, but I was a fan of him.
No, that's what I said. I'm sure you would have been a fan of his.
Oh, I would have been a fan of his, yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm sure he would have been a fan of yours as well. You shared the same sort of sense of humour.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Because, you said that you were, during COVID, you were wearing, like, marigolds.
For quite a few shows here, yes. This was at the very peak of freak outery, and everybody was leaving their post outside their house for 3 days because they were fearful of bringing it in, and they were washing everything that they bought from Tesco's before they put it in the fridge and all of that stuff, yeah. And so at the very peak, when I was pretty much the only person in the centre of town, it was like a sci-fi film. The place was deserted. It was like somebody had dropped a neutron bomb. The buildings were still there, but there was nobody about. And I was wearing marigolds for 3 hours to do this show because I didn't want to touch anything. Because the thing with the radio studio or any kind of studio is it's a lot of expensive equipment, but it doesn't work well with water. You can't wash it. So I was sitting here with it, and you've got no idea how hot those things are. Putting them on and off just to do the washing up, that's one thing. But wearing them for 3 hours, I mean, you've got like the sweat is just pouring out of those things.
And do you miss those days?
God, no. Who does?
And believe it or not, I was around about that time. I had just discovered you.
Oh yeah. Well, I've been over here. Where have you been?
Well, I'd never heard you before until that time, and I was working in a hospital.
Oh.
As a caterer, and I had only started working in a hospital in October 2019. So I felt as though I went through COVID with you and all that. But the reason I mentioned Kenny Everett and your marigolds, I remember some bizarre Kenny Everett sketch where he used to go on about different products from around the world, and he had this product. He didn't want to touch the toilet seat, so he had this clip-on thing that he clipped on his toilet seat.
Yeah, like a handle.
And then he said, but then you'll need an extension for the extension.
Yeah.
And he had a load of them.
That sounds like him.
Together. Sorry?
That sounds like him, yes.
And I think, as regards you wearing marigolds and all that, in about 20 years' time, you in your, what's it called, in your umbrage? No, in your dotage, you'll be telling the grandchildren, I was wearing marigolds on the radio and no one will believe you.
No. You tell that to the young kids today and they won't believe you. No.
They simply won't believe it.
Right. Okay, good work there, John. Well spotted. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. This says public sector pay increases could be paid out of the £11 billion written off to COVID fraud. So much money was found for private sector companies and needs to be found whose pockets it is lining before the evidence is lost, says Bevlar. Evidence. No one's going to jail. There will be no court cases. A giant shroud will be covering the entire mess, and that money has gone. Absolutely incredible how much money has... And it's not lost. It hasn't been mislaid. We know where it's gone because the people who have become stratospherically rich in particularly the last couple of years, but really since the Tories took over, have got stratospherically richer. So the money has gone from the little people, not leprechauns, and has gone to the people who already had a lot of money. And it always helps to be a donor to the Conservative Party. It's probably the best investment you can make. The returns are stratospheric. You wouldn't believe it. This says if they'd like the underemployed over 55s to take up voluntary work, they'd better hurry up and introduce a monthly universal basic income. Otherwise, they can go take a running jump, says Kay. Kay is refusing to be a part of the programme. Oh, by the way, I mean, talking of extra earnings, MPs are making more than ever from second jobs, despite promises from the government to clamp down on the practice 1 year on from the Owen Paterson scandal. You remember Owen Paterson, don't you? Yeah, he's the bloke who breached the ministerial code of conduct by misusing resources, engaged in paid lobbying and failed to disclose interests. A healthcare company paid him $100,000 a year to be its consultant, and he was found to have lobbied ministers on behalf of said company. Isn't that totally surprising?
No.
And 1 year on, after the government said they were going to sort all that out, they've done absolutely nothing about it. Of the 129 MPs who made more than $2,000 from outside income between October 21 and September 22, 86, including the former Attorney General, for crying out loud, either earned more or the same amount as in the previous year. After they were supposed to clear all this up, everybody continued to earn. Nothing happened. They said they were going to clean it up, and then they didn't. MPs made £5.3 million from outside work in 1 year, including ex-cabinet ministers taking on new roles as advisors and non-executives for companies in industries that they used to have a say over. Wow, it's almost like it's crooked, isn't it? Almost. I mean, it's just absolutely staggering what is going on in this country. And what are we obsessed with? What a year. And my book of the year with the A to Z of 2022 will be out first thing in the new year. And you can giggle and tut along with it when it comes out. It'll be on in e-form for people who are, hip and young and with it. And it'll also be in paperback for those who hate trees. This show stuck up the internet as a podcast. It's called Nick Abbot, The Whole Show podcast. It's on Global Player, a place you'll also find all of LBC's shows to catch up on, as well as the best video clips from LBC and other global stations. You can get Global Player for free, as in nothing, from your app store or head to globalplayer.com. I'll be back tomorrow, or tonight more accurately, at 10 p.m. for the start of 2022's A to Z. Coming up at 4 o'clock, Jim Diamond. But right now, here's Ali Mirage.
Thanks, Nick. 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 Thanks, Nick.